And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you came back because you wanted more. Folks, brilliant decision because we have a lot more for you. Now, why do we have so much more for you? Because this is the podcast that's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And our guest today, amongst other things, is wait for it. A podcaster. That's right. You cracked the code. This is the place where we all come together to raise each other up. And this is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. Folks, let's get moving forward and let's bring in our guest today. We have a lady today who is the host of Client Code Podcast. She's launching. It's awesome. She's already got an episode out. I can't wait to hear about what's gone into this launch and what she's doing. She's got a fabulous digital agency business she's going to tell you guys all about and an incredible story. So here we go. Please welcome to the show, Carol Kabaale. Carol, how you doing today?
Hello, thank you for having me, Rory. I'm really, really excited to be here today. It's going to be fun. It's
It
going to be
is.
great.
It's going to be fun. You got it. I love when somebody goes into it that way. So here we go. Carol, you are getting ready to launch a podcast. You've been through a whole lot of stuff to do it. But before we start talking about all that, because I could probably talk to you about that all day, let's tell everybody a little bit about who is Carol and, what's your story and what kind of got you to this point today.
So, as you mentioned, my name is Carol Kabaale. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. I am a child of immigrants. My parents came from Cuba and they settled in South Africa, out of all places. A long way from home, but this is where they planted roots. Um, Childhood, pretty normal, life, pretty normal. And then I kind of became a little cliche, I did everything right. I went to school, I met my now husband there, and I was just ticking all the boxes. And life was actually great until it wasn't. I got this corporate job, and I thought it was my dream job, and I thought I was just going to work in corporate and be a corporate baddie and just show up. And it didn't work out that way because I was living past everything that was important to me. My family, my friends, my husband, myself, actually. And I was so burnt out, I was so exhausted, and I knew there had to be more. I was put on this planet for more. I didn't know at the time what that more was, but I knew it wasn't that. So I took a moment and I didn't tell anyone, and I quit my job. And I decided with my little savings and a lot of credit. I don't know why they would give a person that young that much credit, but thank you for doing it. Thank you. I started my digital agency. And at the time, business development. So I was very much like corporate and charts and moving the business, but I didn't know much about marketing. And it was interesting because I had to learn as I built, and I had very limited resources. And the first year was probably the hardest because I did everything. I wore all the hats. And the second year, I learned a little bit more. By the third year, I hired people to help me. By the fifth year, I had a business partner. By the seventh year, the business partner left and I had to rebuild the whole agency again. And now I'm in the ninth year of it. And this is the best iteration of it. And I say that because everything that has happened has brought me to this moment. I feel like the type of clients that I have and the people that I serve are truly my people, and they're here for a bigger mission. And I'm here to amplify that mission through meta ads as well as social media. So it gives me a lot of joy to do what I do. It's also a lot of problem solving. Before we started shooting, Rory said something to me and my brain just fired off. That's who I am. I love that. I love fixing things. I love seeing a gap and saying, hey, what about if we tried this? So I love my job. I'm very happy in it. Other fun things about me is I have a lovely husband. His name is Joel. Um, I met him when we were 15 and we've been stuck together ever since. I won't tell you my age because the lady doesn't discuss that, but just so you know, I'm old. I am old. We also have a little Boston Terrier called Charlie, who is the love of our life for now. We do want to have little human babies whenever the time is right for that. I also love a good book and some Chardonnay, and carbs, anything with carbs, pizza, pasta, bread. I love carbs. That's me.
I mean, I love it. I absolutely love your intro. That's just that's fantastic. You did too. We had a real, very interesting conversation in our pre-interview. You launched right into, talking about marketing. You can tell how much you love it and that you're doing something you're incredibly passionate about because you just almost can't help talking about it. Yeah.
That's really true. Like, I think when you find something like that, it's so natural. It's like, yes, it is work, but it's a different kind of work. And I always feel like I say to people, like, I'm not trying to pitch you, I'm just trying to give you some advice. Do with it as you will. You got to help yourself. Give them the advice if you use it, if you don't use it, but it's good advice. Trust me.
Yeah, for sure. I do need to address this age thing though, at least once, because you just did this on the air. So, I'm not going to, let the cat out of the bag, but folks, you guys have known me a long time. You've been following the show for a while. This lady, I'm almost twice as old as she is, and she's calling herself old. So, if I feel like I'm a little wounded during the show, I mean today, just give me a little grace. I'll get there. It
I'm so
takes
sorry.
it a
I'm
minute.
so sorry. So sorry, Rory. I didn't mean to. Need to like not say that. I'll take it
Oh,
back. I'll take it
I'm
back. I'll take
totally
that.
kidding with you. But no, the best part is that I feel like I'm half my age. So I mean, we're almost the
That's
same age
amazing.
if you think about it. So it works out.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you do something you love, which I think you and I are both blessed to be able to do right now.
Yes, it
So
is.
year speaking of which, year seven, right? You lose the partner and you had to reinvent, sort of rebuild the entire thing. What was that
Correct.
like? I mean, was there doubt at that
Terrible.
point? Were you just like, hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. I got this. Where were you in that moment?
Oh, it sucked. It sucked. It really sucked. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Because I had built my business, I think from, let's say, year 4 to 7 with this person. And we had at the time, I actually thought we had very similar goals. Looking back on it in hindsight, we had very different goals of what freedom was for us. So I want time freedom, right? I want to spend time with my family, my friends, with my future children. I want to create a business that allows me to do that. She wanted a business that has like $1 million business. She wants a corporation, she wants a company, she wants to be on a board. And I don't aspire for any of that. I can be of service and help with a smaller team, I just don't need all of that. I don't need that. And that's okay if you do want that. But if two people are working towards a different dream or a different goal, it makes ultimately growing that goal very different. So when we decided to part ways, at first I thought it was going to be really amicable because, as a child of divorce, I can also tell you that it's fine. I've been through the worst part. I knew what was coming. I just didn't know it was going to be that bad. And it was. And the biggest part of it wasn't her leaving, it was that I had tied my entire self and being to being an agency owner. It
Mm,
was like my whole personality was that. And when that was taken away from me, it really felt like I had nothing.
mm,
And everything that I had poured into it for the last 7 years was gone. And it was hard and it was difficult. And I had doubts. And I was like, should I do it again? Is there a point to doing it again? Should I start a different business? Should I go back to corporate? Is it too late to go back to corporate? It was a very interesting time. Um, and I really had to think, do I want to do this again? And the answer that kept coming back to me was like, I personally said no. I said, no, I'm not allowed to. I said, no. I said, no, I'm not doing this again. I'm not putting up with people's pettiness. I'm not doing this. And I'm not going to lie, I have some great clients. But when you work with people, people are people, okay? I had a lady once who phoned me 20 times. I'm not even exaggerating because we weren't using the right shade of orange. I don't know what kind of orange you want, lady. So it can be incredibly rewarding, but you also get moments like that. And you're just like, do I want to do that again? And I personally said no. And the more I fought to try something else, the more life brought me back to it. And I was like, oh, darn, this is terrible. And then I decided, okay, fine, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it for somebody else. I'll just work for someone. And that just didn't fit right because, again, it didn't give me the time freedom that I wanted. So ultimately, I decided, okay, what have I learned in these 7 years? What lessons can I actually use? What lessons can I put forward? What did I love about my agency? What did I hate? And I honestly, I kid you not, Roy, I sat down and I wrote everything that I loved about my agency before. And I said, this is the only thing we're keeping. Everything else, it's consequential. I don't want it. I don't care if everything else brought in money or not. I said, I don't want it. If I'm going to rebuild, it's only this. And I've been very firm with that in terms of like when I hire a team, I look for certain people and certain qualities. I want people to have the same kind of ethos and values as myself. When I work with different clients, I want them to also have some skin in the game. You know, I'm not a fairy godmother. I can't just wave a magic wand and make you a millionaire because if I could, do you think we'd be having this conversation? No.
Right.
I need you to do some of the work, right? I'm just here to amplify your amazingness. But you got to do the work. You got to be yourself. You got to show up. You can't just be like, well, I've hired Carol. Let's put all the pressure and all the thing and all the success that must come on her. Oh, no, 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 no. We're not doing that again. No. I need you to be an accountable human and get it done as well. Do your part. So, yeah, that's kind of what I did, and I loved it. Now it's like the best decision I've made. Um, and it was hard, but it was faster. Rebuilding was faster because I knew better. I knew where to spend my time. I knew not to like spend hours on Canva or like fiddling on a website. I was like, done is better than perfect. Let's get it up. Let's move on. Let's go. And a big thing that helped me was that I had an email list that we had built over time. And regardless, if you take nothing away from this conversation today, please take this. Grow an email list, own something, okay? Because these platforms, I don't care which one you're on, can be taken from you at any moment. And if you do not have a way to start a fire and signal to people, hey, I am now over here, you're going to make that whole journey for yourself a whole lot harder if you have to start again.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, my goodness, man. When I asked that question, I did not realize the fire I was lighting, but I love it. And I just kind of get guided to whatever question comes into my mind, and that really was hitting it for me. And I'm really glad I asked you that because, when I was reading your bio, and doing my research on you, of course, before you came on the show, um, one of the things that stood out was in your story. It was, followed the corporate path, did the thing you're supposed to do, and you ended up missing too many family, engagements. Your husband asked you to marry him, and you said, "Hey, I don't want to have this life where I'm working as my priority thing. I want my life to be the thing. And oh, by the way, I also work." And so it's almost like you had to have your business blow up because if your entire identity was wrapped up in the business when your partner left, that wasn't what you wanted to build.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
didn't know it back then. It was like I was building somebody else's dream very unconsciously, but it was hard to lose because it's a part of you. You know, you're proud of it. You've gotten ups and downs, you've put your time into it. It's something that financially also affected my family, the stability of that income. And it was like, oh, now we got to do this again, figure it out again. That's great.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you. That's an
Thank you.
incredibly brave thing to do. After 7 years, I don't know too many people who would say, I'm going to just reinvent everything. I'm going to cut this down, eliminate this, and it's just going to be what I really want it to be. That's brave. That's brave as heck.
Thank you.
So congrats
Thank you
on
so
that.
much.
That's fantastic. I love that story. All right. So somewhere in the middle of all this, you decide you're going to go ahead and launch a podcast and put this whole thing together. I started, looking up your podcast and I went, wait a minute, you've got one episode. What's going on? And then you're like, oh, actually, I have 10. So tell us what's happening with the podcast, what made you go into that and so on.
So part of me coming out of that storm, the role I used to play in the previous agency was I was very much the back end. So I would manage the team, I would liaise with clients. I wasn't doing a lot of the selling. I wasn't being on camera as much as I was before because we decided we're going to divide and conquer to Australia. It's not that I didn't enjoy being on podcasts or things like that. It's just it was silly to have both of us on one thing when one person could do it. But that's fine. So in that, I challenged myself and I remembered Podmatch because I was in a mastermind and I knew the founder was also in that mastermind. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But back then, I'm not gonna lie, between you and me, I didn't take him very seriously. I was like, that's nice, great. And I kind of like kept swimming along. And I was like, Alex, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Um, but I was like, yeah, sure. That's great. And then I was like, oh, it's still a thing. Let me go and sign up for it. It's a very successful thing, actually. It's just, if you're listening, it's a very successful thing.
Oh yeah.
And I signed up for Podmatch, and in that, I challenged myself for 1 year. I'm going to just say yes and go on Podmatch and go on podcasts. So in 1 year, I did 56 podcasts. That's an average of one a week.
Wow.
Yep. And it was quite a ride, and I learned a lot about myself. I went on different podcasts, some about business, some about life, some about faith, some about just random girl talk. And it was like amazing. I loved it. And in that, I learned kind of like my story and what I want to share and where my boundaries are. But in all of that, I just found joy, like real joy. Speaking is something that I think is a gift that I was given, communication. And I was like, that's amazing. I wonder if I could do that. So towards the end of the year, I started looking into it and I was like, well, I want to create a podcast. I want to create a space. How does this all work? So I went to Google University, as we all do, and I typed in, how do I start a podcast? And it came out and spit out all this information. It was very overwhelming. And I was like, okay, let's go to AI now and ask it the same question. How do I do this? And the AI spit out a whole bunch of questions. And I said, okay, well, let's work through it point by point. There were some things I wanted the Client Code podcast to be. Firstly, the name. I wanted it to be a name that started with a C or had alliteration with a C because I like the sound of the Client Code podcast with Carol Kabaale. That C sound was very memorable, at least to me. So I was like, let's do that. And then I was like, well, what are we going to talk about? And I was just like, well, what do I like talking about? Or what did I enjoy? And I was like, every time I went on a podcast, I just liked when I got to talk about myself. And I was like, other humans like to talk about themselves too. So what if I created a space where entrepreneurs come and just share their little, what I'm calling their client code, the thing that makes them irresistible to clients, the things that makes them tick. And then much like this conversation today, we sit and we have a 20-minute, sometimes 30 minutes conversation. And that's about it. So as you mentioned, we've done 10 episodes, but I haven't posted them yet because there's a plan, guys. There's a plan. Part of my checklist told me that I can't just go and launch things. So the organized person in me decided, okay, well, how does this all work? So I did one episode just as a trial. I did it with my friend Sean, and I said, doesn't matter if this is bad, we're just putting it out there because I need to figure out after we record what happens. Oh, I need to figure out a title. Oh, it needs to have like a description. Oh, it needs chapters. What are these chapters? What is this thing? How do we do this? Oh, I need a program to publish it on. Do I do that myself? Do I need to sign up for all these? So I learned by doing.
Love it.
Hence why there's only one episode out. That's the guinea pig. But because of that, I was able to take all the lessons that I've learned from it and apply it to all the interviews that I'm having. So I'm currently still interviewing people and gathering that information so that we can launch. I want to have at least 10 episodes so that there's some continuity. And also because, as I mentioned to you, time freedom is really important to me. I don't ever want to get to a stage where, oh my gosh, we ran out of podcasts, like something to drop this week. I need to record something right now. So I'd rather be ahead
Yep.
than behind.
Nice. Nice. So you learned all this from Chat and Google, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's
I'm quite
lucky.
resourceful.
I was gonna say it's I think because you have such a marketing mind and you are such an incredible go-getter, you're just like, I'm gonna learn it I'm putting it out. Let's go. I think that you were able to do that. I think the average person on the street may have a little trouble pulling out a shovel and digging through everything they get from chat and from Google, because as you just mentioned, it's a ton of stuff you don't need and don't want.
Yeah.
That's again
It's
brave.
very
Wow.
simple. It's very overwhelming when you see all the information out there. It's like anything in life, like with socials. Do you know what I think? I think you've actually put it really well. Like I always say to my clients, oh, but Carol, maybe we should, they come and say to me, oh, Carol, maybe we should be on TikTok. Like TikTok is really cool. And I'm like, I mean, it is. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm like, you could either grow laterally, so you add another platform, another problem, another thing we have to look after, or you could grow vertically and just forget shiny object and you're here. You're just focused. You're like looking linear and being like, these are the two platforms I'm going to focus on. So I took the same approach with my podcast. I said, there's a lot of information, but I just need to get like, what is the bare minimum? Like, what is the bare minimum I can do to make this work? Oh, okay, I've got to shoot it. How do I shoot it? That also became another thing because let me tell you something. I can even show you right now. Like I have this little webcam, which is not bad. It's like one of these little Logitech camera things.
Sure. Yeah.
It was fine. And then I went down this rabbit hole and people were talking about, oh, you need to get this camera, that camera, this. That alone made me not want to start the podcast. I was like, what if I buy the wrong camera? What if I buy the wrong microphone? Then I convinced my husband because I was like, I'm just a girl. I said, please, I need paneling because all the great podcasters have paneling. I need it too, you know? Also, because I like the aesthetic, my whole office is black. So even if I don't podcast, it does go with my brand if you look at my branding. But I said, no, I need it. It's something I need. All of this to say is like, you don't really need all of that. You need a willingness to continue, I would say,
Mhm.
because it's not going to be fun in the beginning. No one's going to be listening. No one's going to be caring as things happen. People only care at the end when it's famous. No one was there in the beginning. I mean, no one knows, like the people who knew famous people, example, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, Britney Spears. In the beginning, no one cared. But now we all know who they are, right? And that's because now they're famous. Now we have all the information. Podcasting is the same. My 10 little episodes, they're for me, for myself, and I. I am grateful to every single guest that has come on. I am going to do my best on them. I'm going to give my best marketing. I'm going to give my best effort. Do I expect it to have millions of downloads? Of course not. Of course not. That would be silly. But if it does happen, good. I figured something else. But that's not my expectations. So also that, just lower your expectations and be consistent. Give it a year or something. And if it doesn't work out, then you can quit.
That's wonderful. You haven't even really launched yet, and you're already giving advice on it. I think that's fantastic because you're learning as you go. So,
Yeah.
it's amazing to hear this. The Let's talk about the podcast itself for a second. Is it
Mhm.
all going to be interview format? Because I know the first episode was, and that was fun. Actually, listening to that, you guys were having a good time.
Oh, Shannon and I are the best. She's like literally my best friend. And that one was one of the probably I was so sick and not hungover, like like headache. Like my head was like, "Ugh," and I was groggy, and she was like, "Do you want to do this?" I was like, "No," and she was like, "No, but you have to because I don't have any more time this week." And I was like, "Come, okay." Then we did it, but it was fun. The whole the whole thing of the client code works like this. Number one, we're going to ask everybody the same question. What is your unique client code? I like that because it sort of creates familiarity between the listener and myself. And then we go into the section, which is tell me about yourself. Like, let's dive into more of your client code. Like, why should people do this? One thing that I'm big on is that I would like everyone to give me like a little exercise that people can do right there and then. I'm a big believer of doing, right? So, for example, I had a lady on today who really spoke about energy and how energy is in everything that you do, especially as you show up as a leader. If you're going to feel like, oh, I'm scared or I'm fearful, that shows up in your energy and it shows up how you show up as a leader. So we did like this breathing exercise and this technique that really helps you control your nervous system so that you can be like, okay, I'm back, I'm focused, let's get this done. So that was incredible. And then at the end, I just you can do your like we do. By the way, I let people promote twice. So if you ever want to come on the show, just so you know, I let them promote in the front and in the back because I was like, people want to know. So I also start the show by saying like, they brought you a gift. The gift is in the caption. Go grab it at any point in the interview if you want. And yeah, then we end the interview with one of my favorite sayings, which is what you don't change, you choose. So, what are you choosing today? And I ask every guest that. What are they choosing today? Because I'd like to know. And that's sort of the end. And then we have like an outro, and the outro is basically a little promo of myself and the agency. If you want reports or you need anything like that, let us know. And yeah, that's sort of the format.
Nice. I definitely put a lot of thought into it. I love that. And as long as it's coming
Thank
from
you.
you and it's something you're comfortable with and it's on your heart the right way, that's fantastic. The best part about podcasting, and I hope you either have found this or will find this, but the best part about podcasting is there are no rules. It is the Wild
Mm,
West out here. You can do whatever you want to do on your podcast. So, if you want to
yeah.
put it out a different day each week, you can. Is that advisable? Well, not if you want to grow, but you know what? You can. No one's ever going to
Mm.
come and like take your podcasting license from you because you did something you weren't supposed to do. You know what I mean? No, they may deplatform you if they don't like your opinion, but that can happen. But I mean,
That could
honestly,
happen.
it's honestly the Wild West out here. So people are like, well, you have to
No.
do it this way. No, you don't. So I love that you're just building it around what you want to do.
Yeah, and you know what? In a way, I'm also very curious. I'm also trying to be not selfish, but like I'm like, what can I learn out of this? What are you teaching? Oh, okay, you work with energy. Teach me something. Like let life be valuable. We're gonna
Yeah.
have this exchange. What can I also get out of it? I mean, it's you're welcome on my platform, but I also like to know what can I learn? And usually I do learn a lot. I really do. For example, I learned today as well that did you know that most people make an opinion on someone in the first zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.7 seconds of meeting them? You already form an opinion, whether you like them or you don't, whether you trust them or you don't, whether you fear them or you don't. Subconsciously, you're just like, that feeling where you're like, or you're like, hey, that that happens
Oh,
in less than a second the first time you meet someone, which is
really?
crazy to me. That's less than blinking your eyes.
Wow. That's kind of,
Yeah.
disconcerting, to be honest with you. I mean, when you're a big old Italian old guy like this, I got to worry about that then. I mean, I got to make an impression that fast. I don't think I can move that fast anymore.
First of all, I think your energy is giving, warm and inviting. I'm here to help you, so it's fine. I think you're okay. I
Well,
think you're
thank
fine.
you.
I think she meant other people, not you.
I appreciate that. I love that you're learning though, and I love that that's how you approach your podcast. If you are having a good time, and if your podcast is serving you in some capacity, um, that's a big key to longevity. That's a big key to
Mhm.
keeping going tomorrow, when today was a little trying. So when you
Yeah.
really love it, a lot of people say, hey, doing a podcast is almost like having therapy for myself. I get to talk through some
Mm.
things. I get to hear somebody else. I get to get out of my own head for a little while. Um, this kind of brings me to my corny question. You haven't released these
Hit me.
episodes, but you've done them. So you've
Yeah.
interviewed, 10 people so far, more to
Mhm.
come. And I can tell you're already, jiving with it. It's fitting you. It's good. Um, what is it about doing the podcast, the thing we're doing right now, that you love the most? And what is it about doing the podcast that you just really can't stand, throw it out the window, kind of hate the most?
Okay, let's start with what I hate so we can like grow to something that I love.
All
What
right.
I hate is the admin before the actual interview. I hate that. I think it's so time consuming. It's something that I'm actually looking to probably outsource. There's a lot of conversation that you have. There's a lot of people who, for some reason, become very unable to read a calendar and find a time that works for them. Very interesting. There is a link and there is a times. If the time is not available, why are you asking me if there's a different time? There is no other time. These are the times. Make it make sense.
Oh, goodness
Make it make sense.
gracious.
So,
Okay.
so those are little things where I'm just like, it's not that I'm inflexible, but I just feel like it's there. It's a link. All you have to do is select it and move forward. Can I tell you guys something that you're listening to? Rory sent me one message. I didn't even reply. He had his little thing set up. I pressed the link. I filled in the form. I went on my calendar. I showed up today. That's it. What we didn't have to have 20 conversations about how do you feel? How was your day? Follow the steps. So that's one thing that I'm really not
Gotcha.
excited about.
Gotcha. All right.
And also, there's a lot of gatekeepers, which I find fascinating. I guess as I say this, and I want to add my own gatekeeper, but there's a lot of people who like you're not speaking to them. And to me, that's important because I also do like pre-interviews before we actually record. Just a quick little vibe check because in my year of going on podcasts, I went on some pretty weird ones. And that usually happened because there was no pre-interview. And I would just show up here like I did today. And today is one of the great ones, but sometimes, ooh, I've got the footage. Got the footage.
Well, thank you for that.
It
I
was
appreciate that.
no, 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 you're welcome. You're doing a great job.
Okay.
And things that I love about it so far is honestly, it's the people. It's the fact that I get to do something different. I'm not like just on my computer answering emails and just doing that. I really do enjoy speaking. I actually was speaking to my husband about this, and I said, like, as a child, I did a lot of competitive speaking, like I did debating and Toastmasters and public speaking. So this actually brings, and I did also a lot of like acting and dramatic arts and things like that. And like this falls into that sphere really well. Um, and I just enjoy it. It's simple. It's nice when you get to be this person where you speak, but it's also nice when you just get to listen and not listen to reply, but really listen. Because some people get really passionate about their stuff, and I can see it and I can feel it. And I'm like, yes, actually, yes. I don't really understand everything you're saying, but yes, yes to that. I love it. You know, that's the
Nice.
best part of it.
Great answers. Oh my goodness. I love the bit about the calendar because it's awesome. I love the sarcasm. You're in for a real treat being on the hosting side because unfortunately that's not really that odd.
Mm-mm,
So
mm-mm. Oh,
you will absolutely
uh,
find it doesn't matter what you write in your preamble, in your intro, it's not going to make any difference what info you put out there. If people want to be mad or have a problem, they're going to find a way, and it'll be your
yeah.
fault because you're the host, and you just kind of go, really? All right, great.
Okay.
Let's keep on going. So yeah,
Let's do that.
that's funny. In terms of the pre-interview, I get where you're going with that. And I don't mean to be preachy. I've been doing this a long time. I've done over 600
Mm.
episodes amongst my other podcasts. So, but I do like to
Wow.
encourage new podcasters on certain things. And this is one thing I want to make sure I say to you on air, in case anybody else who was getting ready to launch is listening to this. Don't ever be afraid to just take care of you. Okay,
Mm.
so you get on with somebody and you're doing a pre-interview, like we're talking for a couple minutes, and you're like, ugh, no, this is, you know what? Don't ever be afraid to go, I'm really sorry, but this is just not a good fit. Click and leave. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect you. You got to protect your brand. You got to protect your sanity, your peace, the whole nine yards. So don't ever be afraid to just be you and say, this isn't right and walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
It hasn't happened yet, but I foresee it's going to happen. I foresee it. And I'm going to very politely be like, well, thank you very much. I don't think you're a good fit at this time, but we can probably work on something else
There
together.
you go. Yeah. So, but
But I've tried to say it out loud because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say in the moment. So maybe if I practice it, it'll be like in my brain.
good idea. That's just role playing
Yeah.
with yourself on how you're going to
Yes.
act. I got it. That makes sense. In terms of the podcast, you've done 10
Mm.
episodes, and
Yes.
with the people that you're interviewing and you're bringing on, you mentioned entrepreneurs telling their story, that type of thing. Is there a particular thing that you're looking for in your guests to serve the audience in some way, or is it just entertainment, like interest? Hey, they have a great story. I want to make sure they get a chance to tell it. Where are you in terms of that? Where are you coming from and how you build your content?
It's it's a little bit of both. I want them, usually they have a great story or like they have a great something interesting about them. And then the second thing is like I really make it a point of you must share something practical because
Uh,
I am like using 15 minutes, 20 minutes of someone's time, and I want that time to be used effectively. You know, I want them to get like the meat and potatoes. I don't want you to be like surface level, fluff, 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 and you're busy saying like this keyword and that jargon, and you're talking about things that don't make sense to anybody but yourself. Like, dumb it down. Be like, hey, if you're talking about social media, for example, be like, you need to post 5 times a day. This is what you should say in those posts. This is when you're going to post. Don't come here with, oh my gosh, you should create a content plan, and the content plan should talk to your marketing plan and your branding. It should be so cohesive. And then you get a network, and don't forget about your emails. I'm like, someone listening to that is overwhelmed. No, dumb it down. It's only 20 minutes. I want one good thing. I want them to be like, that was a great use of my 15 minutes. That was a great use of my 20 minutes. And that's it. That's all I want.
nice. Nice. Again, I'm glad I asked that question because I had a feeling you had a purpose and a point, So you don't seem to be someone who's just messing around here. You seem like you're taking this very seriously.
Well, I'm trying to. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like a part of me has invested a lot into this, but a part of me is very excited about this. Like it almost reminds me of when made that decision to leave my corporate job. There was something exciting and fascinating, and the more I did it, the more right it felt, the more this feels right. The
Nice.
more this feels like this is something I should explore and like give it my all. Like not try half effort. I want like 100% effort. And let's see where it goes. Because it feels very on purpose. Like it feels like this is something I should be doing. And whether the outcome of it is that or not, I can tell you right now, the journey in itself has already brought me so much joy, and I've learned so much about myself, and I've grown. And financially, even though we haven't launched yet, it's also helped. Because from there, I've met people who are like, oh, I didn't know you had an agency. We wanted to do this. And I was like, great, let's have a conversation. So, shameless plugs also don't hurt. So yeah, it's been really nice, and I'm enjoying it. But I need to give it 100%. Yeah, I need to give it 100%.
Love your attitude
Only on
about
a Thursday, I'll also say that. Only on a Thursday, because it's Thursdays are my only podcasting days. The rest of the time I'm still in the agency. The Thursdays are my happy days.
it. Got it. All right. So Thursday is the day. If anybody wants to get on your podcast, they want to like reach out to you, that type of thing. I love it.
Yes.
Do you have an idea of when you're getting ready to launch?
So I would like, so we have a plan. That's what we were talking about. So we have a plan. And after we've edited and we're now sort of working on thumbnails and things like that. But once we've sort of gotten that cohesiveness done, what I would like is by October, so the second week of October, the 6th, to start really teasing the podcast and the first interview. I haven't decided yet which one is going to be the strongest interview to start with. I want it to be something juicy, and something that people are like, oh, that is interesting, and have that conversation. So haven't decided yet. There's some contenders there, but based on that, I've kind of announced that I'm working on something. I've done some teaser videos where I've like shown like, oh look, I bought this camera, and look, we did some paneling, improving is coming. So the idea with my audience has been planted. The name has been announced. You can obviously go Google it, and you'll see there's one little episode. It's very interesting. But it's not the real thing. It's not the real thing. The real thing is gonna come, I think, October. That's when we're gonna get there. And I
Nice.
encourage you all, if you want to go listen to see how far we've come or how not far we've come. It's also great. Give me feedback where we can improve.
Beautiful. All right. That's wonderful. All right. Carol, as we kind of start to wrap things up here, how can people reach you, reach out to you, find out more about you and your business or you and your podcast?
So everywhere on the internet, my name is simply Carol Kabaale. Carol like Christmas Carol, and Kabaale is spelled like Kabaale. My favorite place to connect with people is usually on Instagram. But honestly, if you send me an email or you go to my website, which is just carolkabaale.com, you can just reach out to me there. So, yeah, listen to the podcast. It's going to be good. I think so.
Nice. Nice. I love it. All right, Carol, I got one last question for you as we wrap things up here. And you've given quite a bit of advice today on a lot of different things, which is great, especially for someone who's brand new into this particular area of what we all do. Um, but I'm going to pin you down here for a second. We're going to, really put the
Mhm.
pressure on. So, in the short time you've been doing it, you've done 10 episodes, you've researched a ton, you have a plan, you know the business, you know the social media part of it, especially. So, what is your best piece of advice for podcasters who are not quite where you are yet? Go for it.
Well, if you really want to become a podcast, I'd say ask yourself why and let that lead you. My husband has a saying, know why you're here. And it reminds me all the time, like when you're doing something, why are you here? Why are you doing something? For me, the podcast, it started out as a visibility tool. It started out as growing my confidence and just getting out there. But this podcast, my own podcast, The Client Code, it's more about just getting out there, doing things and talking to people and showing up as the woman I want to be, right? I also see it as a stepping stone to other things, to maybe speaking or summits or a book. Who knows? But for all those things to happen, I need to remember why I'm here and I need to be consistent. There will be many things that will distract you. The fact that you don't know what you don't know is one of them. This is really one of them. And you can very quickly go down a rabbit hole of spiraling. Oh, I don't know how to do that. Oh, I don't know how that works. And just analysis paralysis and you stop. But I would say come back to yourself, remind yourself why you're here, and carry on. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Excellent advice. Excellent advice. I love it. All right, folks. I'll tell you what, when the time comes, you've got to go check out this podcast, Client Code, with our host here, Carol Kabaale. You have to go check her out there and at carolkabaale.com. Carol, you've been just an absolute ball of fire today. Absolutely love your energy, love your spirit, and I cannot wait to hear your podcast when it comes out. All of my best to you as you, go through this new journey, and thank you for being on today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's honestly been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Folks, this has been another fantastic episode of the Podcaster Nation. And the reason we have such great podcasters come on here with these great messages is because this is the podcast that's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And I think we showed yet again today that this is the place where the rising tide truly raises all ships. So keep sailing.